Alright, okay, looks like audio's good. Finally this time, hopefully. I'm using a different microphone today. I had to completely leave everything on my desk. Get a second, just switch scenes after I kill the go home. Chrome is now dead. Let's put Chrome out of the way. It's like half memory. I need to buy more RAM. I want to order more RAM tonight. Just add more RAM. Okay. Let's switch things here over it. Hello and welcome. Give me a second over here to also reset my calibration. Okay, should be calibrated now for my model, and yeah. So hopefully audio is good this time. Let me get chat up because I actually don't have chat on screen for some reason. So give me a moment to pull up chat. And now I can actually see chat from both YouTube and Twitch at the same time. Trying to make this setup more efficient. Still work in progress with the 2 computer setup, but trying to make it more efficient. And I think I have a solution for that, but that solution involved moving all of my anime figures off of half my desk. And yeah, so anyways, today we're going to be learning how to attach any outfit to a Vtuber model. Specifically, we're going to be using an outfit from a VR chat model that we have used in previous tutorials. But we're going to be, taking an outfit from one model and porting that outfit to the other model. And start I can show how you can use some of the sculpting tools in Blender to resize stuff. And we're also going to add a tail, and we'll add some wings. and maybe some glasses, just for the hell of it, so that way you can all learn how to attach things to the model as well. So let me switch out of my little virtual apartment here. Uh, so it's this button. I need to get everything all hotkeyed up. And 1 second here, I forgot to do something in OBS on the other computer side. Let's see here, should be this one. There we go. Okay. Again, I'm not used to having this two computer setup still. It's gonna take me a while to get used to it. But let's go ahead and get started here. So first thing I want to do is, we're going to delete our default cube. It's just kind of a running joke in like the Blender community that we tend to delete the default cube only to add a new cube. And so yeah, we're going to just delete our default cube here. And let's go ahead and import our models. So I have a collection of models here for today. And I'm actually going to be bringing back my previous Vtuber design for this. So I'm going to bring back my old design. I was going to do a completely new tutorial waifu, but then I was like, you know what, I want to bring back my old design because why not? I want to go with this whole gothic aesthetic. So we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to copy that folder path. So as always, I am using Blender 3.2 at the time of making this tutorial. The current version of Blender is 4.1. I have yet to update due to some plugin compatibility issues. However, I will probably be updating soon. But I just want to put that out there so that way anyone who watches the VOD knows exactly which version of Blender I am using. And they can use the same version or port stuff upwards to the newer versions. So let's go ahead and go here. I'm going to grab the AR kit version of my model, and we're going to import my VRM. So this is going to import a base version of the model. There is only shoes on this model and some nice stockings there, and of course, in order to be Twitch friendly, we have a bikini on the model, so that way Twitch doesn't ban us, because we love you, Twitch, and we don't want you to cause any problems for us. So this is what we're going to be working with here. This is going to be our base model to work with. Now we need to import our outfit. So our outfit is in the form of an FBX file, and like I said, this is from a VRChat model. So I'm going to just come here, and I have a plugin for Blender that lets me just drag and drop FBX files. I think it was like a free plugin. I don't remember if it's free or not, but I highly recommend go on Blend Market and just type in drag and drop import, because it just makes it so much easier to drag and drop models. Now, when we import this VRChat model, you'll notice that the VRChat model is like super tiny. This is kind of a thing with VRChat in general. A lot of the VRChat models are extremely tiny models because scaling in VRChat is just weird. My model itself, my VTuber model here, is supposed to be 5 foot exact, I believe, roughly 153 centimeters for this model. And the VRChat model is like half of that. That's just because VRChat scales things completely weirdly. Now what we want to do is we want to click on, or right click on the hierarchy up here, and just select the whole hierarchy. We're going to go to Object, and then we're going to set Origin to Center of Surface. And that's going to make it a lot easier for us to move stuff around and scale it up. And what we want to do is, actually, we're not going to use these bottom leggings, so we can just get rid of the shoes down there altogether. What we want to do is select the whole thing, and we're going to hit G and Z to bring it up, and then S to scale it up. And you just want to kind of get it to be a close approximation for where it's going to fit on the model. This isn't exactly perfect, and we know it's not going to be perfect. It's also a little bit too long in some parts. That's fine. We can easily fix that. And I don't know, maybe we'll probably scale down just a little bit more and then up. Yeah, probably about there. Or maybe we can scale it up a tiny bit more. We'll fix the arms. This model actually has like really short arms, and that's by design. I like to give variation to all of my OCs, so they all have different arm lengths, different leg lengths, and so forth. And that's just because I like to have that variation, just as you would with actual humans. Um, so that's kind of why the arms are a little bit short on this one, but it's gonna be a rather easy fix for us to take care of here. Now, as you can see here, we have a lot of clipping, and this is where we're going to be able to start to fix it. Now, what I want to do first, though, is before we actually start doing stuff, let's clean up our armature a bit. So I'm going to hide the previous armature, one from my Vtuber model. I'm going to click on the armature here, and I'm going to go to the Bone tab, go to Viewport Display, and tell it in front. Now, what that's going to do, it's going to make all these bones show up in front of the model. And we're actually going to delete probably all of these bones except for the skirt bones. And that's just because we want to be able to maintain the physics of the skirt. And I don't want to have to deal with having to redo all of those physics for the skirt from hand. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and select our armature. Hit tab to go into edit mode. And I was going to start selecting bones that we're going to get rid of. And all I'm doing is selecting the bone, hitting X, and then that's going to delete those bones. The skirt root, we can probably leave. I'll probably end up deleting it anyways, though. But it's just that way we can end up with completely new vertex groups, because we don't want to reuse the old vertex groups. We want it to match the rigging of our existing model here, which is why we're deleting all of these extra bones. Because otherwise, we'll have to do manual weight painting, and I'm not really a huge fan of that at times when it just comes to adjusting or replacing an outfit, you know. We'll leave the skirt root for now, so that should be good. Okay. Now what we can do is we're going to select our mesh here. And what we want to do is we're going to go down to shape keys. Now there's already a couple shape keys here. There's a big breast shape key, which is kind of helpful because, you know, we do kind of have bigger breast here. There's also a shape key for the choker. And then there's one for the sleeves. But we're actually going to delete these shape keys because let's just assume we don't have any shape keys, period, okay? So let's assume we don't have any shape keys. Maybe it's an outfit you used or you made in like Marvelous Designer, or you downloaded off CG Trader or Sketchfab, and there's no rigging, period. So let's just assume that we don't have any shape keys at all. So I'm going to start completely fresh. So we're going to make a shape key here. Make your basis. Then click on Add Shape Key again, and we're going to label this fitting, because we're going to be, you know, adjusting the fitting of our model here. And then drag the value up to 100%. So you want that value at 100. Now what it's going to do is basically a save state for the model. So when we are modifying our mesh, if we decide we don't like what we did, we want to start over again, then we can simply turn the toggle off and go back to the start. Now with that at 100%, let's go ahead and first off, let's separate a couple things out. So first thing I want to do is I want to separate out our choker here. So I'm just going to select the choker in its entirety, and you can just hit Control L to make sure it's doubly selected. And let's go ahead and separate this out real quick, just because I know that we're not going to want that to like have any rigging, and there's no point in us like doing a bunch of extra work when we can simply resize the choker itself. So let's grab our choker real quick. We're going to hit G and then Z, bring it back to where it needs to go. Maybe G and X, bring it kind of center here. And then hit S to scale it up. Now, notice here it's scaling up from the bottom, and that's because the origin changed. So we want to fix that again. The easiest way to fix that is go to Object, go to Set Origin, and again, just set the origin to the center of the mass. And that's, you can see this little dot here, that's now where the origin is. And now if you hit S and scale up, it'll scale up properly. And I'm just going to go ahead and make it cover. I was trying to make it hide the fact that we don't have the seam line kind of like fixed here, but that's fine. And we'll go ahead and get into using our sculpt tool now, because honestly all we need to do is just kind of sculpt around that little spot. I don't want to make the choker too big, so we'll just go ahead and use our sculpt tools. And hi, welcome, glad to see you. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into sculpt mode. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the X button up here at the top right. What this does is it turns on symmetry mode, which means anything I do on this side is going to also apply on this side. You can even see here, this little dot appearing on the opposite side of where my cursor is. And mostly what we're going to be doing today is using one single brush, actually. It's going to be the Elastic Deform brush. So go ahead and find it here on the left-hand side. I'm going to look for Elastic Deform. And then we're going to just grab it and just drag it out until it deforms over how we want it to look. And then you might notice here, though, sometimes things get a little weird with that. We can just probably adjust our brush settings at the top. Maybe our radius is too much. Let's actually bring our choker up just a little bit more, like that. And then, yeah, so now let's go into sculpt mode. And then just kind of grab that bottom piece here and just drag it out a little bit. There we go. And that looks a little bit better. So that's kind of what we wanted. So now we have our choker here, and it's going to hopefully hide that seam line because of laziness. You can kind of still see the seam line on this side, but it's whatever. It's not going to be like a huge focus, right? All right, now let's go over here to our clothing. Now, since we are going to end up pairing the skirt to its own bones, so we're going to leave those as it is. But like I said, we're just going to leave it in sculpt mode. And it's going to be a lot of the same thing for this. This whole process is a lot of just using the Elastic Deform modifier. Or not modifier, but brush. And it's going to, with your object selected, if it'll select it, make sure, you might have to go into object mode and then go back into sculpt mode. And then just make sure you have symmetry on. And there we go. So now we can go ahead and start dragging out our mesh here. And this is basically the easiest, simplest way of attaching any outfit to another model. It's going to be using this Elastic Deform modifier and just dragging stuff out where you need. There is other ways to like resize meshes and to deform them. Like you can use the Deform Mesh modifier, which I've used that for quite a bit of stuff. It's really helpful of a modifier to use. But I find that using this brush just tends to work the best for me when it comes to swapping outfits with like VR chat and Deloitte and so forth. Because it gives you the most fine control, because it's localized directly to where your cursor is. Whereas, for example, if you're using like the Deform Mesh modifier, you don't have that fine control as much. So it's going to, keep this process up real quick and just drag out the outfit. There we go. So it's covering our body here. We do need to make sure we are, covering up our chest so that way Twitch is happy. And remember, this model does have kind of like the VR chat model, the original one, does have a small chest. So we might need to, do some stuff to kind of like fix that. So like, let's say, for example, let's go back here. Let's go right about here, okay? Now, sometimes what I find helps most for a breast specifically is actually to use a different brush known as the inflate brush. So I have here the inflate brush, and I'm just going to drag the radius up. We'll drag the radius up to maybe 161. And then you're just going to click on it and just give it a little bit of a nudge, and it's going to inflate the chest like so. And I feel like that tends to work rather well for purposes of adjusting breast on outfits. because it gives you a nice round shape, which is what we want. We want that nice round shape for it. So just keep that in mind. If you do have like trouble spots like breast, try using the inflate modifier instead of, or inflate brush instead of the elastic deform. You can then go and use the elastic deform to kind of, smooth out that area, because an actual shirt is not going to, it's not going to conform 100% like in anime. It just kind of depends too on, what it is. What is your goal, I guess, for the outfit? Do you want it to be super conforming or not? I try to maintain a little bit of realism in my models, so I'm just going to kind of flatten that out just a little tiny bit using that elastic deform brush there. Like so. And you might need to, adjust how you're pulling it. There we go. And if we decide we don't like how that looks, again, we can always, go back. But like I said, I try to maintain a tiny bit of realism in my models, instead of having to be like completely conforming like you get in some animes. All right, so now let's take a look at our sleeves here. And for the sleeves, same thing. First thing we're gonna do is drag out the sleeves so that way they're not clipping through. Now right here, it's going to be clipping through the hand right there, and that's fine because we're actually going to be shortening our sleeves up. So I think that's fine there. So let's go into object mode now, and then go into edit mode. And I was going to select this sleeve, for example. Okay, so we have this sleeve selected. And then you can hit S and then X, and that's going to shorten up our sleeve. And then we can just hit G and then X and bring the sleeve back in if we want to, like so. Now we might want to do that on both sides. So if we want to do it on both sides at the same time, just simply select both. Make sure you have the symmetry mode selected up here at the top. And then now when you go and do that, you can see here it's going to conform both of them together and bring them to the center rather than going around the center of an individual arm. And that's kind of more so what I wanted anyways. And you can see here we do have some problem spots again. Those are rather easy to fix. So if we do have these problem spots, I'll show you another way you can do it real quick. So let's go into select this transform button, this move button. And another technique you can do to resize things is a little bit more of a precision technique than the elastic deform. If you come up here to the top, you'll see this little dot with a circle around it. If you click that, that turns on proportional editing. And then you have these different, values for, you have smooth, sphere, root, inverse, and so forth. We're going to go sphere for this one. And what happens is with the proportional editing, when you're moving something specifically, it'll give you a, like a circle around where you're going. It starts off pretty big, so you do probably have to hit page up or page down to adjust that size. So if I just hit G, and then if I hit page down a bunch, you'll see that circle finally come down into view. And what that is that's the area of influence for it. And then you can see here, we can now drag this up and so forth. And the same thing here, just hit G, drag it up, and G, and then drag it up. So that's another way too that you can, deform it. Again, this one is more like the more precise way of doing it. And this is going to be mostly we're going to be using for like shape keys specifically for doing like face sculpting. You'll probably be using this proportional editing a lot more than other tools for it. I'm gonna grab right here in the center, actually probably right about here. Just kind of drag that up. So that's two different ways of which you can you can do the deforming of like the arms and stuff. Now, I'm not really a huge fan of how that came out, and that's fine. I just wanted to show that you can do it that way. And again, we can just, use our elastic deform here, adjust our radius however we need, and then we can, kind of smooth that out and fix that as much as we need to or want to. Now, since we did that arm on its own, we're going to have to do this arm separately. So let's go ahead and turn off the mesh symmetry. And then we'll just take care of this arm. And also that'll help to give us a little bit of variation in how it ends up looking. And I'm a big fan of having a little bit of variation and stuff. So it's going to, real quickly here, clean up our arm a little bit. And there we go. So now we have our outfit resized, how we need it to be resized. Well, actually, there's a little tiny bit in here that can be kind of fixed. There we go. And actually, for that one, let's turn symmetry back on. That way, it applies to both sides. And we're just going to, drag it out so that way it's not clipping through the way it was. Just do a quick double check here. And just make sure it's not, completely clipping through. Cool. Alright, so now we need to actually attach it to our mesh, because right now it's a separate mesh. It's not attached the way we want it to be attached. So let's go ahead and start attaching things. The easiest way to attach, for example, if we want to attach our, our neck piece here, our choker. Let's go ahead and delete the shape or vertex groups off the choker that we don't need. So we're going to delete everything except for the neck vertex group, because I'm assuming that the neck group is the only one that is actually rate painted to that anyways. So let's just go ahead and take care of that real quick. Go ahead and just get that all deleted. There we go. Okay. Now, oh, and one more thing too that we totally forgot here. But remember how we created the shape key for fitting? Well, now that we have it fitted, what we can do is right here, click this little drop down and then hit apply shape key to bases. And what that does, that is now flipped. So we now have the fitting here, and that's going to bring it back to the original size, whereas now the default state is the original, or is our modified state, which is what we want. And we're just going to do the same thing here on this one. Just make sure that we apply our shape key to bases, and then that flips the default state for us, again, which is what we wanted to do for it. So now we can actually attach it. So let's start off by simply making sure our relationship is good. So it's still paired to the original mesh. Before we reparent it, you want to take note of these transforms here. Sometimes what happens is if you change the parent of an object, as you see here, it completely teleported where that choker was. So what we want to do is I'm gonna hit Control Z real quick. So what I want to do before you change the parent, just take note of these, hit Control A, and then click all transforms. And what that does is that now solidifies that position. So now if we switch to our armature here, which it's still doing that, what we need to probably do is come down here and delete this here. Let's go ahead and delete this, because we're going to, again, assuming that you're starting from a mesh that's not already rigged. So now you can change the parent, and it's still doing that whole thing where it's moving it down there. It's not supposed to be. Again, I don't know why it's doing that. But again, you can just hit Control A, all transform. Oh, no, it is probably this. Set origin to center mass. And then Control A. and that should fix that there, or not. I don't know why it's doing that. It's usually not an issue with Blender, but sometimes Blender can be a little temperamental, and that gets annoying when it does that. Because we just want to move it from one to the other. And it's being rather stupid at that. What I'm going to do is, just for now, because I don't want it to be parented. I don't want it to be a child of this armature here. It needs to be of the other armature. So we'll figure that out here in a second. We did delete. Let's delete this. Okay, and then go ahead and make sure all our modifiers are deleted. And then again, it should just be as simple as Control A to save all the transforms and then change the parent. But it's being dumb and not working with me today. Whatever, it's not like a huge deal because all we need to do is just hit Control Z and then just bring it back up and then position it back where we had it, which was right about there. I think we had it a little bit lower than that. But again, no, not too hard. I'm just gonna hit Control A now, and then we can go ahead and add our modifier back. So I'm gonna add the armature modifier, select the proper armature that it needs to be. Now for the body here, for the clothing and the skirt, it's gonna be a little bit more complicated. Because what we need to actually do is merge the two armatures together. Also just realized we have a couple of extra bones that we don't want. So let's go ahead and go into edit mode and just select these thigh bones and delete those thigh bones because we only want the skirt bones. It's all we want. Select our outfit, Control A to take care of all those transforms. And then what we're going to do is select our armature here, and we're going to click on the green. We want to click on the green one. This is armature 0.001. Click on that one first, then hold down Control, click on the other one, and Control J, and that's now going to merge those two skeletons together. So those two skeletons are now merged. Now we just need to make sure that our outfit is paired properly, and it looks like it is already paired as well, so that's good. And the reason why that happened is because it was a child of the other skeleton. So now our two skeletons are merged together, and now what we need to do is just go over here to our modifiers, add the armature modifier, and then select armature. And now there's one more thing we need to do real quick, because if we simply, selected our skeleton here, went to pose mode, for example, you'll see here our arms are moving, but not our outfit. So we need to make sure our outfit is moving. So we're going to do automatic weight painting by using the original mesh here. So again, I've mentioned in previous tutorials, I'm not a fan of automatic weight painting. I prefer doing it by hand. And even with weight painting by hand, I absolutely hate it. But it's going to be easiest today if we do the automatic weight painting. So what we're going to do for that too is we're going to select our outfit that we sculpted and go to our modifiers tab. We're going to add a new modifier, and it's going to be the data transfer modifier. Bring it up to the top. You're going to bring it up to the top for this one. Now what we're going to do is select this little button here. It says source. Click on that and select our body. So it's going to have our body now selected as the source. Now click this drop down, click vertex data, and then vertex groups. And you can leave it as nearest vertex, or you can try playing around with nearest face interpolated, nearest edge interpolated, whichever works best for you. I'm going to leave it on nearest vertex for now. And then hit generate data layers. And what that's going to do is it's going to copy all of the groups from the body over to our outfit here. So all those vertex groups are now copied. And let's just double check, just make sure. What we're going to do real quick, just delete all of these here. Delete all groups, just to kind of show how that works again. So I just kind of show how that works. We have on our body here, we have all these vertex groups, and these are paired to the different bones. And all we're going to do is go over here to that data transfer, and what it's doing is it's copying those vertex groups from the body over to the outfit. And there's a little misconception that you have to have exactly matching topology in order for it to work. That is not the case, actually, and specifically because of the fact that it has this mapping and the nearest vertex. If you did have completely matching topology, you would click on topology, and it's going to tell you here, error source and destination cannot be used in this case. But yeah, just go to nearest vertex or nearest face interpolated, edge interpolated, whatever. We're going to leave it on vertex, nearest vertex, and then hit that generate data layers. And now if we go over here, we'll see here now that our outfit has all of these different vertex groups now. It didn't have those before, it has them now, and that's what we want. Now before we can actually use our stuff, let's just come up here and click apply on the data transfer. It's going to get rid of that data transfer and just make sure that that's all completely saved into our mesh. So now, if we go into pose mode, we should see our whole outfit, moving alongside our model here. So there we go. You might need to do some cleanup, and we can cover, how to do some of that cleanup here in a second. Sometimes you'll find little problematic spots, and but it looks more or less good so far from what I can tell. Doesn't look like there's too many weight painting problems. A little bit of weight painting issue down here. I'm not going to be too concerned about that right now, but we might want to clean that up, and so I can show you how to clean it up here in a second. Real quick though, let's take care of our skeleton here. So I'm going to go into edit mode real quick, and we're going to delete this skirt root. Okay, I'm just going to select all of these. I'm just going to select these one at a time, and let's set the bone parent over to... I want to set the bone parent to the hips, because I feel like that's going to be the easiest way to have it all set up. And if I remember right, you can technically hit all of these. And then select the hips. Oh no, that's not what we want. But let's go ahead and select the hips here. Yeah, we're gonna have to do it one at a time. I was hoping that I could just apply to all. I'm sure there's a button for it. I just don't remember what it is off the top of my head. So I'm just gonna select all these one at a time and just make sure that these are all connected to our hip bone, so that way we can add physics to the skirt. Just make sure that this is all selected here. Okay. Now, there is one issue that I didn't think about, and let's actually go back. Go back a moment. First off, I'm not sure why this got all moved when it shouldn't have been moved, but we need to actually go back anyways. So I'm just gonna hit Control Z real quick because we did actually have a slight screw up here. So I'll explain what that screw up was. What we should have done is, before we did this data transfer here, we had cleared out all these vertex groups. I'm gonna hit Control Z to where all these vertex groups are back to the default ones. So these should be the default vertex groups now. Yeah, these are now the default vertex groups. What we want to do is make sure that we don't delete the skirt here. That's where I kind of screwed up, is we had deleted the skirt And we don't want to delete the skirt vertex groups because we want to keep those physics. And another thing too we can do, if we really want to, is hit Alt-Z, select most of the skirt, hit Control-L, and then we can separate the skirt from the top. Oh, make sure we're in select mode here. So if we really need to, what we might want to do, just as a kind of like a precautionary thing, is separate our skirt from our top there. So let's just go and do that real quick. And just separate by selection. And again, that is bringing our whole body down. Shouldn't be bringing the whole body down. And I wonder if that has to do with the transforms, maybe? I don't know. Alright, let's go ahead and just Control Z here real quick. Because again, why is it... It's bringing the origin right down there. Okay, object mode, set origin, center mass. That's not what I wanted to do. Hello, welcome. As always, sometimes we end up with just a little bit of minor pain caused by Blender being Blender. Okay, Control A to apply our transforms. Let's see, that just brings it down, right down there. Which is not what we want. But it needs to be set to there. I'll try to figure out why it's doing that, because normally Blender doesn't do it, and it tends to pick specifically when I'm live to have problems. And I don't know, that's just Blender being Blender, I suppose. Because, yeah, I don't know why Blender's being dumb. It just wants to be dumb sometimes. And maybe, no, it's not that either. Yeah, so I'm not sure why Blender does that. It just does it. Let's try this again. We're going to select our skirt mesh here. Looks like everything is selected. And then go up to mesh, separate. And then, let's see, that brought it all right down there. And if I hit Control Z, it brings the whole thing down. Which is not what it's supposed to be doing. At all. Yeah, I don't know why Blender is doing that. Origin to geometry. Also, I'm gonna hit Control S real quick, just to make sure we're saving. Because I haven't saved in a while. But yeah, Blender, please stop being dumb right now. Link transfer data. Let's go ahead and get rid of all of our modifiers real quick. Just clear out all the modifiers. See, I need that to be the parent. So that actually is what it's supposed to be. That's supposed to be the parent, so that shouldn't be causing problems. But let's see now. So now, see, what's being dumb about it is that, like, it's placed right, and right now there's no parent at all. So, like, it shouldn't have any issues at all because there's no parent to it. It is just being dumb. And it's just trying to reset its location for whatever reason. just gonna double check. Yeah, we don't have anything special going on here. For it. I'm just gonna go ahead and start deleting those extra vertex groups. They shouldn't be an issue, but maybe it is. Okay, again, we want to leave the skirt groups alone. And let's just clear out everything except for the skirt groups. There's just a lot to go through and delete. And I think what it actually has applied now is all the ones from the other mesh. And that might also have been an issue too. It might have been trying to like copy the transform from the other mesh. Shouldn't have been like a huge deal, but sometimes when things are like rigged, it can get kind of weird. So let's try this again. Okay, but now we'll just leave it as a single mesh. I was trying to separate it out, but I guess we'll just leave it as a single mesh right now. So hit Control S. We'll try one more time to get it to properly separate out. Again, I don't know what is the cause of that problem, but we'll try to troubleshoot it. Make sure that's all selected. There, okay. And assuming it all works, which it should, we should be able to separate it out, and it's not separating out, and it moves the whole thing down. Which is rather annoying that Blender's doing that. Because then I have to hit Control Z a bunch of times. And just double check everything. So I don't know why Blender's doing that. I'm going to leave Blender alone in the meantime. But let's go ahead and set our armature to our parent. And again, don't be stupid, Blender. Okay, add modifier armature, select the armature, and then go to parent, select armature as the parent. And yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. Because it shouldn't be moving at all, just from changing the parent. But regardless, we have our armature selected here. So if I were to go into, if I were to like click on our skeleton, for example, because we had fixed that now, you can see here our skirt is now, working. Skirt's working now. What's not working is our hands, and again, that's as simple as using the data transfer modifier. So with all that selected, we're going to add that data transfer modifier again, bring it up to the top, select, bring it up to the top, select the body, and then set this, leave mode replace, go to vertex data, vertex groups, nearest vertex, and now we can just hit generate data layers, hit apply, and now if we select our skeleton and go to pose mode, you can see here that now our outfit is moving the way it should. And like I said, sometimes we'll end up with weight painting issues. The reason why I was trying to separate the skirt out is because I wanted to fix those weight painting issues. I wanted it to be separated, and I just don't know why Blender has decided it wants blood today. But for whatever reason, Blender has decided that it wants blood. And I just don't get what is up with that right now. Maybe what I just need to do is, yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. We have, let's turn proportional editing off, make sure we're not having like anything selected that shouldn't be selected. Try switching it to global space maybe, or to local space. Nope. Yeah, I don't know why Blender is just doing that now. One thing to maybe do is duplicate the mesh. See, when we duplicate the mesh, it's bringing the mesh down here at the bottom too. Just select everything, set origin to center. But yeah, when I do that, is when it ends up being all weird. Okay. Oh, that is so weird, because it didn't even, like, scale properly. It, like, altered the scale. Blender, why you be dumb sometimes? The problem is I need it to be the parent. I need the parent to be the armature for when we go to export. Otherwise, it'll become a problem. It's not like a huge deal, but there's ways we can fix it. It's just really annoying that it's choosing to do that right now. But yeah. Okay, so let's say we had some of those issues with the ray painting. One thing you might be able to do or might want to do is select the armature, select our mesh, go into rate paint mode, and now you can kind of pick a spot that's a problematic spot. For example, maybe around here was a little bit problematic. So I want to find the vertex group associated with that spot. This one's probably going to be chest or upper chest. And you can see here, it's not really the prettiest looking of rate painting there. So what you might want to do is come here to the top, go to rates, and go to smooth. And then you can adjust your iterations here. I don't want to do too many iterations, but you can adjust the iterations here. Make sure too that you have the proper group selected again. Again, Blender is just not being my friend right now. I might just restart Blender entirely here in a second. I would go to smooth, and then you can adjust the iterations if you need to. Do I have a key that's like being held down? Is that what it is? I don't have any keys being held down, I think. That might be it. Here. I'm gonna hit Control S. Give me 1 second. I want to restart Blender. So, give me a moment just to restart Blender here real quick. And see if that fixes the problem. Okay, hurry up and load again. I'm gonna hydrate real quick in the meantime, so just give me a second here to hydrate while that is loading back up. Oh, that's weird. Even with loading Blender again, it did the same thing, where it put the mesh back down in the bottom. Again, I have no clue why it's doing that. Oh, and it looks like something got screwed up with our sculpting too. I really don't want to have to like do stuff all over again. Let's see here. Got the clothes, relations, armature. Okay, well now that is paired properly. Give me a second just to get Blender back up on the screen. This has armature. Yeah, why did it do that? Why is Blender being dumb right now? Because it also like screwed up the scaling. just give me a second to get stuff pushed or put back into place. And set origin to center, scale up. Am I gonna have to like redo this whole sculpting thing again? I hope not, but probably. Because I don't know why it got all screwed up. Well, let's see here. Okay, so let me get Blender back on screen. At some point, I'll have it hotkeyed, but not right now. Yeah, I don't know why it was doing that. Blender decided it wanted blood today for whatever reason. Okay, but now it should be fixed, hopefully. So if we go to pose mode, yeah, it looks like we're fixed here. Okay. So with the skeleton selected, with our body selected, we can go into rate painting mode and just select like the upper chest area, go to rates, go to smooth, and assuming stuff works, which it doesn't want to work for whatever reason, because it keeps... I'm just double checking my keyboard real quick. I'm like looking at my keyboard just to make sure that like, nothing is like pressed down that shouldn't be pressed down, and it looks like nothing's an issue with my keyboard, unless it's an issue with something else. Let's see here. Maybe a button got hit on my stream deck. I don't know. And I'm pretty sure Blender doesn't respond to game controllers, so that shouldn't be an issue either. I do have a game controller that's like being pushed down right now, but that shouldn't be an issue. Okay, we'll just scroll back up here, make sure we select upper chest, and let's try again. Okay, yeah, Blender, why did you choose blood today? Whatever, okay. I was gonna set it to all groups. How about that? So, we'll set it to all groups, set this to 10. I was hoping that it would stay selected, like it's supposed to. It's supposed to stay selected, but it wasn't staying selected for whatever reason. Yes, like no matter what value I changed in Blender, it gets screwed up. And I don't want to do a whole new project file if I can avoid it. But you can see here, it's kind of smoothed out now, so I recommend doing like a factor of 1, iterations of 10. You can adjust this slider down here. We can't see it. Let's see if I can move these around. I guess I cannot. Maybe I can move my body out of the way real quick, just so you guys can see what I'm touching here. The menu I'm using down here is the smooth vertex rates menu. And you have a factor, you have iterations, you have expand / contract. For factor of 10 or factor of 1, iterations with 10 tends to work fairly well for me. That's just going to help to smooth out all those groups. And so we can, select our skeleton now, go back to pose, and it should look a lot better now. There is still a little bit of clipping there. And if you do end up with like problematic clipping, you can always rate paint by hand. I'm not going to bother rate painting by hand today because rate painting is not today's tutorial. But I just want to show that stuff does get automatically paired the way it's supposed to get paired, and so forth. So there we go. Can smooth that out a little bit. Now, we did have an issue here with our skirt, right? Remember, our skirt is all paired to skirt root. Doesn't need to be paired to skirt root. Instead, we want to do is let's just go over here to our bone relations, make sure we're in edit mode. We're going to set that to the hips. And then I believe if we then delete that bone, it'll automatically repair everything to the hip bone. So real quick, before we go any further, we can start adding physics to the skirt. I'm not gonna add colliders today. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But again, with Blender being picky right now, no clue why Blender is being all pissy, but Blender is being pissy. So I don't want to like anger it too much. But let's go ahead and add our materials here. So let's go ahead and click on here. We're going to go to our materials real quick and just scroll down. Since this is a VRM model, we want to enable MTune. And then we can hit this holder button here. And we just got to find our textures. It should be, since this character tends to wear red, we'll go with red. So we're going to apply our texture there real quick. And go ahead and get that set to both the lit color and the shaded color. We can also bring our shadow down to like 0.8 for the clothing. And I like to put shady tuning to 100. Actually, I think this one should be shady tuning 90, because this one's not like fully anime styled. But there we go. So we now have our material there. We don't need a map cap or anything. There might be a normal map for this outfit. Actually, I haven't checked if there was a normal map or not. And yeah, I don't see a normal map. Actually, we do have a normal map right here. So we'll go ahead and apply that normal map as well. Okay. So all of that is there now. So now we have our model. And she's got her new outfit on there, looking good in the new outfit. But let's go a little bit further, okay? We've got a couple extra accessories we want to add before we get into like fully doing physics. So let's go back over here to our tutorial folder. And let's go into our accessories area. And we have a bunch of different stuff here. So let's add some glasses first. We'll start off with glasses. We're going to drag our FBX into Blender. And then bring our glasses up where we need them to be. If we need to resize them, we can. We can go to edit mode and edit the glasses. So right now, it looks like maybe they could stand to be resized a little bit. So maybe what we want to do is just go into our edit mode. Make sure the glasses are selected. We're going to edit mode. And let's say maybe what we want to do is select this whole arm here. Go into our symmetry mode. And then we can hit G and then X. Nope. I want to make sure we're not like extending that out too much. Make sure proportional editing is turned off when adjusting that. Okay. Oh. I'm just gonna extend it out. Maybe a little bit like that. And then I'm not sure if this one has, yeah, it doesn't. So what we need to do is kind of select our little pivot here. And maybe about like there. And then we can hit Y or R. And then, oh. Now, if you notice here, when we went to go pivot that, it pivots it where we don't want it to pivot from. It pivots it from like way over here. Easy fix for that is we can select this edge here. So we just want to select like, I don't know, select probably this edge actually. Select this face. We want to select this face here in the middle, okay? So select that face. and then we can bring our cursor over here. I'm trying to remember what the hotkey was. Blender has a ton of hotkeys, and I can never remember what all of them are. But there's a ton of hotkeys for Blender. And like I said, I just can never remember what all of my hotkeys are all the time. 3D cursor, transform pivot point. What was the button for it? Orientation, surface project. Because what I want is I want my cursor to be like in the center there. At some point, I will get a keyboard that actually has like all the extra keys too. That's another reason too why I don't really use hotkeys for Blender, is my keyboard does not have a numpad, and a lot of Blender hotkeys are dependent on the numpad, which I just don't happen to have one. Here we go, cursor to selected. There we go, so that's gonna put our cursor right there. Okay, and then now we can select everything that needs to be selected. And now if we hit R, see it's still pivoting around that there. So what we want to do is we want to pivot around the cursor. So what we can do is to come up here to the very top, click on transform orientations, and then click cursor. And then now when we go to do that pivot, it should be pivoting around the cursor. Keyword should be. Yeah, why is Blender being annoying right now? I really don't want to have to, like, completely restart this project file. If I can avoid it. But it's still not pivoting around the cursor like it's supposed to. Orientation, cursor. Yeah, it's not pivoting around the cursor like it's supposed to. That is being super annoying. Alright, we'll do this a different way. Okay, there we go. Close enough, I suppose. It's not quite what I was wanting it to do, but good enough. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring our glasses down however we want to orientate them, and let's go ahead and I just noticed too there's actually a bone here for you can just delete the armature. The glasses are going to be repaired anyways, so let's go ahead and just delete those. Control A, Control All, make sure it's transformed to save, and then set this to face. But see, then it ends up down there anyways. Tracking axes. Maybe that's what got screwed up. Oh, you know what? Maybe that's what it was? I don't know. I've got no clue anymore at this point. What's going on with Blender right now. 180. Nope. 0. 180. Control Y. Control Z, bring it up. See, what it's doing, and it's annoying me that it's doing it, is that we changed the parent of it, and it is still getting parented to the armature here, even though we changed the parent of the glasses. So I don't know what is the problem with it there. But there you go. Now we can have our glasses here. Maybe we don't like how that looks still, so we want to, bring it down just a little bit more. And just up a little bit more again. There we go. Cool. Now let's go over here to our materials. We're going to tell us to use Mtune. I'm going to set that to the Mtune material. And now we can adjust our color here. Since we're going to go we're going this kind of like little goth aesthetic, we'll kind of go with like a dark color. I don't like to use pure black if I can avoid it, so we'll just go this really dark gray. And then let's do like half of that for our shade color. Should be 205, right? Yeah. There we go. And then we want to adjust our lenses. Again, same thing with the lenses. We're going to go here and click on Mtune. And then we can set this to be transparent. And then change this to alpha blend. And then with our lit color, we're just going to bring down our transparency, or bring it down like so. And see here. I kind of like that because it's kind of got like that dark sunglasses effect, which is really what we want with it to have. I might adjust our rotation though a little bit more here. And then maybe bring it up slightly again. And it's close enough. Okay. So we have that there. And then we just want to make sure that this has a vertex group that is labeled as head. So go into our edit mode, select the whole thing, rename this group to head, hit assign. It's going to give it a weight of 100%. And then because we paired it to the face, then when we move our face around, the glasses should be moving with us. So if we were to, okay, it should be moving with us, keyword. Might need to make sure it has that modifier there. There we go. Okay. So over in pose mode, it's still not moving our glasses the way it's supposed to. Why is it not? Oh, that's why. So this word is kind of important. Make sure stuff has the proper names. So it's going to actually be a different name for that bone. So all you gotta do is just rename our thing there. Name our vertex group. So I'm just gonna copy and paste that name. And then just make sure our vertex groups are named appropriately. And now let's double check. And there we go. Now we have our glasses attached to our head. Now we can also add, other stuff. So I also had a couple other things here that I wanted to, add to the model. So let's go ahead and add some of those stuff here. And then we'll cover physics last before we wrap it up for the day. So I have a couple different sets of rings and a couple of different sets of tails. I'm gonna bring these ones in here, and let's try to grab this tail here as well. I'm gonna bring this tail into here, and then I'm gonna move my model on this streaming computer real quick and put myself right back here in this spot. Okay, so those should have been imported in. Should have been. Looks like they were not, because again, Blender decided it wanted blood today. And I'll figure out why Blender wants blood later. Okay. Is it even going, is Blender just like so screwed up right now that it's not even like able to drag and drop stuff in? It's gonna be so annoying. Yeah, Blender got like really screwed up for whatever reason. Okay, there we go. So we have this tail here. Now it's a succubus style tail. So let's go ahead and grab our tail here. And it's going to find the armature for the tail. We're going to select the entire hierarchy here. And we're just going to scale it down and position it where we need to scale it down and position it at. So first things first, let's set our origin to the center for now. And actually what we really want to do is set our origin over here. So I'm going to just select right here, hold down shift, hit S, and then cursor to selected. Okay, that's going to put our cursor right there. Go back to object mode. Make sure our whole thing is selected. Hello, how are you? I'm doing good. I'm a little annoyed at Blender right now because it's being dumb and having issues. But we're doing good. Okay, so we're going to do origin to 3D cursor, and that's going to make our pivot point right there where that cursor is at now. So now, if we rotate, you can see it's going to rotate around that pivot. That's what we want. So now what we can do is want to rotate, let's see here, want to rotate our z-axis 90 degrees. And then our position, we can set our position down to 0. Scroll down, and then we're going to hit S and scale it down. Bring it up wherever we need to bring it up to. I feel like that's still a little bit too big for my taste, so I'll probably go right about there. And then just position it as we need to position it. Now, I'm not really a big fan of having tails actually from up here. I like to actually personally have my tails start from like underneath the skirt, personally. So that's just a personal preference. Really, it's just whatever is your preference to do. But I feel like tails should come from the spine down below. So I'm gonna put my tail right there for now. And then what we need to do is, again, merge the armatures together. So I'm going to have this green one here selected. We're going to scroll up back to the top, hold down Control, and click on that one there, and hit Control J. Now see what happened is we did that, but then our tail got like repositioned. So if that happens, just select your tail, hit Control A, and then select all transforms. That should fix that issue. Again, Blender is being kind of problematic right now, so sometimes it's not really working the way it's supposed to. But if Blender is working the way it's supposed to, that's all you need to do to fix that. So you can select your two armatures, hit Control J, and yeah, Blender is still doing that again. It's being really annoying that it's doing that for me. It's like it's not storing what it needs to be storing, if that makes sense. It's not properly saving that transform the way it's supposed to save the transform, and that's been just highly annoying to me. That's doing that, because it shouldn't be doing that at all. And the way I had to fix that a moment ago is I had to fix that by completely restarting Blender. And I don't want to continuously restart Blender right now. To be fair, I also haven't restarted my computer in forever, so that could be, well, maybe it too, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. There we go. Finally, Blender decided to work. Okay, so this is now part of the body. And we need to now take our bone here and make sure it's connected to our hips. So I was going to grab here pierce tail 2. We can connect pierce tail 2 to the hips. So I'm just going to hit X on this bone, it's going to delete it, click on this one, go to our bone parent, set that to the hips, and in that way it's now attached to our body properly. Again, I don't know why Blender is fucking doing this shit, but it's resetting the origin again. A carrot? Maybe? Okay, I gotta hit Control Z a bunch of times. And I will debug the shit out of Blender later on tonight after stream. Because Blender is being dumb as shit right now. Okay, so let's try this again. This is selected properly. Select our bones. And let's try it this way. I'm just gonna have to set this one to the hips. And then hit X to... Wait, no, because when I set that to the hips... Okay, Blender, why are you doing this to me today? You were working perfectly fine all night last night, and all week Blender was working perfectly fine. And it's just now Blender wants to be lame. So, yeah, and I'm not sure what the problem is with it. Because again, like I said, the transforms are all good. Transform is set. The parent is set to this armature here. Yeah, this is all set properly. So why is it then going into edit mode does that? I don't know why it's doing that, but it's whenever I go into edit mode, it like reverts the state of the object, and I just don't know what the cause of that is. I'll have to figure that out, because it shouldn't be doing that, and there is nothing here to suggest to me why it is doing that. There's no instancing going on. There's no custom properties or anything. Our transforms are all good. So Blender is just being dumb, and it's, I don't know, Blender is being Blender. All I want to do is just, see, I can't even go into edit mode to edit the skeleton without it fucking that up again. Why does it have... Yeah, because it's setting the origin point way the hell down there when it shouldn't be. Control S, cursor to selected. Control hit A, go to mesh, and well, I can't do it from here. I have to exit into object mode, but when I do that, is when it gets all screwed up. Object, set origin, origin 3D cursor. It's like just refusing to save any of the transforms when that shouldn't be an issue, period. Again, I don't know why Blender's being dumb. I might have to push adding tails and wings back to another time, just because it is being dumb. Actually, here, let's do this. I got a solution. I'm going to delete the tail. Okay. So, let's do this. We're going to delete the tail. Control L. Okay, object mode. I want to select only the mesh of the tail and delete that. And then let's go here. Control L. L. Okay, it's not selecting. Whatever. I have a solution, and we'll see if this works. Delete all those bones. I hit Control S. Let's try this. I'm just gonna export this real quick as a VRM. And let's leave it as untitled for now. I'm gonna completely restart Blender again. So just give me a second here. Where's it at? Okay, so just give it a moment as Blender is completely restarted. Hopefully I can figure out the fix for that issue. I don't know what was causing it, but we have a completely fresh scene now. Okay, so I have a completely fresh scene. I'm gonna hit A and then X, just delete everything. We're gonna go to import VRM, and let's import the untitled VRM. And let's see now if we can attach our tail and stuff just fine. So I'm gonna save this, and let's try now. Hopefully now it's working, because I don't know why it was all like screwed up, but we'll try now real quick. So now let's see here. Let's go ahead and import our tail. Okay, should be imported now. Yep, it's way the hell up here. Okay, go ahead and select that center piece. Control S. No, not Control S. It's Shift S. Cursor to selected. Select the whole armature. Set origin. Origin to 3D cursor. Let's rotate this 90 degrees on the Z-axis. And then scale it down however we need. And hopefully, a completely new Blender file fixes the problem. Okay, and then just, I don't know, bring it in a little bit further like that. So it should be higher up, and then further in. Okay, so hopefully this can fix that issue. Hopefully. Okay, so let's go ahead and try reparenting this now. And it did that again. Nope. Even with the new Blender file, it's all like screwy for where it's setting that origin point. And I've got no clue why it's doing that. Let's see here. Control J to merge them together. And set this parent to be hits. Okay. Why am I not able? There it is. Okay, so that's set to hits. which means that one's now connected to the hips. There we go, that's what we wanted. Go back to object mode. And make sure that the tail mesh is armature. There we go. And it needs to have the armature modifier set to armature, like so. So now when we move our hips, the tail should move with it. I was gonna get around to doing physics, but with Blender being weird, I don't think we're gonna get around to doing physics today. Because I'm gonna need to go and figure out why Blender is having these problems with the physics. Yes, kinky tail, yes. Yes, indeed. So we have a bunch of different sets of rings here, and we're just going to, you know, we'll grab these ones here. See if these ones show up. Oh, that's just the horns. I need rings. Okay. And these are also rigged. So the nice thing about these is that because they're rigged, we can basically do whatever we need to do with them. We can add physics to them easily. How are you, Em? I am doing good. I'm a little annoyed at Blender because Blender's having problems for some reason right now. But aside from those problems, doing pretty good. Okay, let's go ahead and see here. I want to rotate that whole thing just a little bit. It's like the whole hierarchy. And rotate it like that. Okay, and then up. And then we're gonna go Y. And we'll have it attached to the outfit. Now, what we might want to do, because we don't want to be like, you know, stuck entirely here, we can go into our pose mode real quick. And then just select an axis here. And then just kind of, you know, bring stuff. You want to make sure you're not moving the bones, but rather you are rotating the bones. So let's make sure you don't hit G, make sure you hit R instead of G. So that way you rotate the bones instead. And then this one down here I think is fine. We'll do that right there. This one here did not move along with it, but it's whatever. There we go. And I noticed here too, though, we do have this bone up here. What axis is that? That's the y-axis. Go a little bit down like that. And then maybe like so. Okay. Cool. So we'll put our rings right about there for the outfit. And go back to our object mode. And again, it's being dumb. I don't know why it's being dumb. So we're just gonna try to get this to work however we can. Select this whole thing. Control A. Hopefully that worked. Hopefully, keyword. Select our two armatures there. And that flattened out the rings. I didn't want to flatten out the rings. That's fine. Not a huge deal there. There we go. And our rings are back to the way we want it to be. And all we need to do now is click here. And should be this bone here. Now this is set to the hips. We don't want that to be the hips, obviously. So this needs to go to our upper chest. So let's make sure that this is set to upper chest. Or we can set it to go to our just regular chest. That's probably better spot for it. Depending on where you put it. Yeah, that might be better. Okay, so put that there. And then I was going to delete that bone. It's going to connect everything to where it needs to be connected to. And that way now, except for going to pose mode. Actually, we do want it to be upper. Yeah, we do want it to be upper chest. Okay. So I was right the first time. It should be upper chest for it. I'm gonna go upper chest and then just delete that bone. And then into pose mode we go. And now we have our outfit with our rings attached. And then let's go ahead and make sure that this has a material assigned to it. So let's go ahead and see, we've got all these materials here. They need to be set to Mtune. Really simple, set them in tune. Just go ahead and click the enable Mtune button. And then we have all these different things here we can do with it. Now, what I think might be kind of a cool effect here is maybe we do, I believe that's red-ish. Close enough. And we can make this emissive, so that way it's glowing. So we'll kind of make that glowing of a texture. So that's now going to glow in the dark with that there. And we'll probably do the same thing too with these little ribbons here. Should be these ones here for the ribbons, I think. So I'm going to scroll down, enable Mtune, and we'll do the same thing. We're going to give those, well, we don't want those to be glowing, I suppose, but we want them to kind of match that color. And then it's going to add shadow to those, because those are going to get shadow. So we're going to add a shadow to those. We have these bows here. Let's see which one this one is. Let's go ahead and click enable Mtune. That's going to be the top half right there. And this does actually have, at least I think it was supposed to have, maybe it doesn't, textures. Probably doesn't actually have the textures for whatever reason, but that's fine. Yeah, we can just, adjust our color however we need. So we'll go with this nice dark color here. And then just make it a little bit darker for the actual shadow. There we go. And then right here, this one is probably the bows, I'm assuming, from one of the colors I saw there. Notice this little chain down here, which I just realized some of the chains did not move with it. So let's actually just delete all these chains here, I guess. Why am I not able to select things, Blender? Okay, wings. Yeah, why am I not able to select stuff? Come on, Blender. Let's do that. I'll troubleshoot all this later, because, like I said, I don't really feel like dealing with Blender being a pain in the ass at the moment. Because Blender is definitely being a pain in my ass right now. And then we've got one last group over here. And one more. Yep, there's one more group. Okay, I was looking forward to having those dangling there, but again, with Blender having its problems, I am trying not to spend too much time on stuff. That way I can go and figure out what caused all those problems later. So make sure it's set to Mtune. And we're just going to copy, actually just set this to material 8, same as it is above. There we go. And lastly, these bows need to have their colors added. I'm going to add the M2 material. So we have these bows here. And let's go ahead and find a nice color for them. Give them like this little like deep crimson kind of looking color there. I kind of like that. Thank you for the follow. Hi, welcome. 0.2. It has a little bit of shadow. What we can also do for the bows is we can kind of give them like a little satin effect. So if you want to do like a satin effect, you can use what's called a matte cap. So with the way matte caps work is you have a little slot here, and this slot says matte cap rim color, and you're gonna have these spherical textures. Okay, these are like extra like spherical looking textures, and there's a lot of data that gets added to these textures here. But we can find one that's kind of matching the color, and then we can use that to add a kind of like a satiny effect, maybe like this one here, for example. And in that way, the bows are a little bit shiny, maybe a little bit too shiny with this one. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of that one. But these little spherical textures, circle maps, sphere maps, whatever you want to call them, these are how you add like metal effects to stuff. If you're doing like PBR textures, which is going to be more realistic shading, you're probably not going to be using these. But for toon shading specifically, if you're doing like anime styled shading, matte caps are your best friend for anime styled shading. Still not quite a fan of this one. Problem is, these are kind of low poly, so not really like the best to work with, but we'll go with that for now. You know, we'll leave that be for now. And we do need to color our tail here. Let's make sure that that has M-Tune added. And I kind of liked that material we had earlier, material 8. So, oh, this is actually the wrong one. Go to material 4, which should have M-Tune also added. And then we can, you know, make this like a nice little gray color. Make that a little bit darker there. We can add that matte cap here to it. So if we want to do, again, like shiny metal, we have make these shiny metal textures like this one here. I'll go like this one or one of these maybe. These will add that shiny metal look to it, which is what we want. And then obviously we need to make sure the tail itself is there. And I was going to give that one material 8. That's what I was trying to apply material 8 to. So there we go. Now we have these horns here. And I kind of wanted to put these horns on the head, just to show again how we can attach stuff like horns to the body. And I will figure out what the hell is going on with all the physics stuff later, with all the other stuff later. But for now, I'm going to delete these hearts, because I don't really want these hearts on here. So I'm just going to delete those real quick. And let's go ahead and select both of these. Actually, I think maybe only doing one horn. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure it out. Because I kind of like just like the style of this horn here. So I'll probably end up deleting this one. What I'm going to do is let's copy. And I don't want to copy objects. I want to copy the transform. Control C. Yeah, I'm not trying to copy the objects. See, why is Blender doing this to me? Blender, for whatever reason today, like I said, is just problematic as hell. Let me just copy these into the text editor. So I'm gonna set this real quick to text editor down here. And I was gonna copy these values. And then that one, and then this one. And then maybe that one. Should I need all of those, but we'll see. So I'm actually going to delete that horn. And what we're going to do is create a copy of the horn. And then we can apply these numbers here as we need. I was gonna, you know, copy and paste all of these over here real quick. Don't need it right the hell over there. Needs to be right here. And then right there. Cool. And we actually probably could have just used the array modifier for that. I didn't think about that until just now, but the array modifier would have also worked just fine for that. But now we can, you know, bring these up here, and then we can bring them into our head here. And I might bring them in just a little bit. Let's go ahead and set these to the center point. And then I'm not really a fan of having like huge horns, so we'll probably go with that. These little smaller horns like that. And these need to go back, go up, and then just back in just a little bit more like so. And then what we might do is just, you know, we can delete some of the hair strands or move some of the hair strands around, so that way they kind of like conform around those. But if not, it's fine. No big horn. I'm not really a fan of big horns. Yeah, only small horn. I mean, we can do a singular gigantic horn, I suppose. But even like my other model that has horns, I made the horns small just because I'm not really that big of a fan of the oversized horns, so to speak. It's also not centered up, so I want to make sure it's centered up real quick. I want to make sure it's as center as we can get it. That looks good enough to me. M equals 1 big horn. I suppose. Okay, and let's make sure that these are set to Mtune. So go ahead and let's copy the space color. Oh, where's it getting its color from? That's the one I need to copy the color for. Okay, so this is now set to Mtune. I'm going to give it that color back, and then 0.6. Okay, and then same for the ribbon. Actually, the ribbon will just set to material 3. And we have a bunch of unused materials here. We'll kind of clean all those unused materials up here in a moment, just because we do have a ton of unused materials that need to be cleaned up. So we'll clean those all up here in a second. Like this one should be material 08, for example. And then same thing on this side. I just want to do the same thing on both sides. Make sure these are all, you know, matching our material choices here. This one should be what, 03 I think is what it was. Yep, 03. And then this should be 03. And then this one we had put to, I think it was 12 here. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and join these together into one single object. And then we just need to add these to the head. So the way we're going to add these to the head is... Oh, actually, let's see here. Yeah, we don't want to do that. Okay. Just add a vertex group and go into our edit mode. And just make sure we're remembering to name it correctly. I believe it was J_bip_C_head. And I'll double check that here in a moment. But just select it all, hit assign. And then just make sure that we have that armature modifier set. So set your armature modifier and then click there. And then we can attach this to the face. Now see, we didn't apply our transforms. So what happened there is our transform wasn't applied. And then we went to go attach that, it flipped it. And it's still doing that for whatever reason. There are some voice issues. Music is okay, just a small lag with voice record. No, so what's happening is it's a 2-computer setup, and so the other computer is behind like half a second. Um, I know it might be a little disconnecting. I gotta figure out a way to like fix that. It's just one computer is handling the tracking of my model, and the other computer is handling Blender. Um, and it's still a work in progress for this setup right now. I'm just going to go up here to Object Mirror, and then should be Mirror Y. There we go. So just to double check, let's go ahead and go into pose mode. And yep, our horns are now attached to our head. So again, I wanted to do physics today, but with Blender being problematic, I don't think we're gonna get around to adding physics to everything. Well, actually we can real quick. We just won't add colliders. No, actually it's gonna take forever to do that. Never mind. I need to figure out what's going on with Blender to fix that. But now we have our new outfit, completely new outfit here. We added a tail, we added glasses, we added horns, but we need to make sure it's all working. So let's just double check and make sure it works. So I'm going to go to export as VRM, and we'll just leave it as untitled for now, I suppose. And we need to load up a tracking program here. So we'll load up Naruto first, because Naruto for sure should be working just fine. And then we can try Micoverse as well. But Micoverse is much heavier on the resources. And I feel like I've been doing way too much Micoverse content lately. I need to go back to do some Naruto content here and there. But let's load up a blank scene here in Naruto. And let's give this a second to load. It's gonna open up the tracker there. I was doing a Demon Core meme the other day, so there we go. You get to see the Demon Core meme, which I actually have backwards. So the Demon Core opens up with the screwdriver, but it's supposed to be that when you exit, when it closes is when it goes catastrophic. I kind of screwed that up, and it's actually when it touches the core, and then we end up disappearing. So I was working on that the other day. Kind of a fun little blueprint to have made. But let's go ahead and create a new scene, and we'll just call this model test. I'm surprised I didn't already have a scene labeled model test, to be honest. I'm going to go to our character here, and we have to click open character folder. That's going to open this folder here, which has a ton of character models in there. And let's just go ahead and grab our model that we just exported. We'll throw it in here. It's going to be in there now. And now we can select untitled, because we didn't give them a name, I think. No, wait, yeah, they show up down here. Okay. So now our model is loaded up here in Naruto. And we can just do a quick motion capture setup. We'll just use a media pipe. It's going to detect all 52 ARKit blend shapes, because this one does have ARKit enabled. And then we can... I usually turn off idle head animation. I turn off look at. I like to have lip sync enabled. I believe lip sync is currently broken, but it's whatever. So now just to do a quick double check of our model. Give it a second to load up. And we forgot to do one thing here. And what we had forgotten was our choker. So our choker does need to be fixed. Rather easy fix there. I just totally forgot that we had moved the choker. Yeah, we just like completely moved the choker around, and I didn't even think about that. And let's just delete all of these vertex groups off of the choker. Go into edit mode. Just label this neck. I believe that's what it's labeled as. I'll just double check. Click on our skeleton somewhere. Pose mode. No, it's just J_bip_C_neck. So again, just make sure that stuff is properly labeled there. Okay, so now that that is properly labeled, that should move. We did have a little bit of rate painting issues going on with some, clipping of the breast around here. Rather easy fix. Honestly, the easiest way to fix that is just to make the texture itself transparent. That way you're not having to change your topology. But let's go ahead and just export this again. The nice thing about Rarudo is when you export it, it'll automatically detect those changes to the model. So it should automatically update the model, assuming that we remember to copy the file over. Okay, and there we go. Now our choker is properly attached. We do have a little bit of a rendering issue here with our glasses. Some people might like having the glasses render this way, where your eyes render over the glasses. I personally am not like a huge fan of that, but I do know that some people like that. So we'll just leave it as it is, because some people do like that kind of effect. It's very much the anime like glasses effect. I'm not a huge fan of it, but we'll leave it for now. But yeah, and we have our tail there. Our tail's attached properly. The shirt should have my jiggle physics already as well. So yeah, my jiggle physics are part of the shirt. I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to do completely custom physics for everything, but I gotta figure out what the hell is wrong with Blender first. So, we'll figure that out. Oh wow. Something happened with my teeth right there. I don't know what happened with my texture. I think that's just a matter of fixing the texture for that. But there we go. We now have a new Goth Mommy model. Yep. With that, though, I think I'm going to call it here and try to figure out what was going on with Blender, causing all those problems. Aside from those problems, though, I'd say this has been quite a success. We now have, like I said, we have a new Goth Mommy model. So, as everyone likes, and yeah. So, with that said, thank you for watching, everyone. I'm going to try restarting my computer, and hopefully restarting my computer fixes Blender. If not, then I'm not sure what the problem is. And I'll just have to figure that out. What was causing that whole thing, though, with the glasses is if we come over here, select our glasses real quick, in case you want to know why that is happening and how you can fix that. There's a few things that are going on with that. So, not gonna be able to see it in Blender, I think. I don't think Blender can see it, but we have this render Q offset, and as well as transparent with Z right mode. I believe Z right mode is what's needed to fix that. And we can just double check that. Let's go ahead and export it again, and just make sure that we remember to copy and paste our files into the correct folder here. And I believe turning Z right on fixes that. Yeah, so now that Z right is turned on, our glasses are no longer doing that whole anime effect where the eyes show through them. So if you want to have the glasses to where your eyes render through the sides of the glasses, just turn Z right off. And if you don't want that, turn Z right on, and that'll fix that issue there. So hopefully that's informative. Yeah, I put so much effort into like the earring physics for this model way back in the day. I've been wanting to bring this design back because I don't know, this was my favorite design for like 2-3 years, and then I ended up rebranding, and I went from being Goth Mommy to just being a Menhera styled avatar. So but I'm happy that how this came out for today. And again, if you have like these issues here, what's causing that is the weight painting, and I think what's really going on causing that is probably the way some of the bones are being moved. So if I go over here to pose mode, for example, it's probably actually, oh, that's the wrong one. Hit in, view, should not be set to effect only. Yeah, so I think what's going on there is um, the breasts are being pushed away, probably from like the physics sim Naruto, and that's causing that to happen right there. So the easiest way, like I said, the easiest way to fix that is simply just make the texture of the body transparent, right? So like if we select here, you could just make the texture transparent and just paint out whatever's not going to be in view. You don't have to delete vertices and stuff to fix that. But if you wanted to, you could. I'm just saying you don't have to. But like one thing you could do, for example, is just maybe we go into edit mode. And I don't think this change will show up in Naruto, but you can just kind of select everything here. And we'll just select like that whole thing. Just hit H. And now it's, well, it would be hidden if we were in edit mode, but we're not in edit mode now. And I guess, I don't know, how do I invert? Try to remember the button to invert what's hidden. Because there is a button that inverts what's hidden. Hidden, show, hide, reveal, but that just shows that's not what we want. But okay, let's say for example, you did just like delete all those, and then bring this back, right? Now, if we have our breast moving, so I'll go back to pose mode here, and then now you're not going to get that issue as much because what was there is now gone. So you don't have to, like I said, you could just paint it out transparent on the texture itself. That way if you're doing like outfit swaps, because you can do toggles that swap outfits entirely. If you do an outfit swap toggle, you're not going to want to completely delete your vertices, but you can change the texture in real time, so that way the texture goes from one that is visible to one that's invisible, for example. And that might be what you want to do with that. Go ahead and just put those back the way they were. So let's put our body back to normal. And yeah, so there we go. Again, glad how this turned out. I'm gonna figure out what's wrong with Blender tonight. And rope collar. Well, the collar's here. See, the collar is there. Just have a new collar, different from the old one, because I wanted to have a new collar for the tutorial. And I don't know, maybe one of these days I'll just do a stream that's dedicated entirely to physics. I tried doing that, I think last week, and I wasn't too satisfied with how that one came out. But physics has been one of the both funnest and hardest things to work on for me, because I've found that Unity and Unreal Engine need completely different values for the physics. So going back and forth between Unity and Unreal, it's been a little of an annoyance here and there, trying to get my physics dialed in. But yeah, maybe we'll do that next week. Maybe we'll revisit physics next week for it all. But again, I'm going to call it here. Let me find someone to raid real quick. Okay, so give me a second to find someone to raid. Let's go back to the apartment in the meantime. So here is the space apartment, as you can see here. So we have our space apartment. It's not really much to see in the space apartment. we can kind of look around. I think oh, hold on, I need to fix something here with my camera here. And it should be, where is it at? Render environment, yes. Spout, orthographic, no. Transparent background, no. There we go. Now you can see space out the window. There we go. So here's the space department. Not really much to see right now. It does need some changes here and there. And we are now super bright. What the hell? How do we get this bright? Nope, don't be that dark now. I'm gonna have to fix a lot of stuff with the environment here. Because now we are like way too bright, and my eyes are all bugging out. I don't know what's up with that, but let's find someone to raid real quick, and then we'll call it a night. We'll bring the intensity of the light down. That's probably the problem. There we go. There we go. Brought the intensity of the light down. We're back to normal. Alright, so where is Twitch? Twitch here. Am I logged in on this computer here is the real question. Twitch.tv. And let's see here. Let's raid Mio. I haven't raided Mio in quite a while, so let's go ahead and give Mio a raid, and we'll go from there. Okay, I'd figure out where chat went. Oh fuck, I can't even raid from Restream, right? In order to raid, I have to do it from Twitch chat itself. Let's see here. Channel. Problems of using Restream at times. Hello and welcome. Unfortunately, we are wrapping up for the night after doing a lot of work on here, and I need to figure out some issues with Blender here in a moment. But yeah, let's go say hi to Mio. They're a pretty cool person, and I want to challenge them to a game of Mahjong later. So thank you again for watching, and I will see you all next week, and have a wonderful night.